All right, so this is going to be a review, another bad movie review. This is going to be on Christmas with the Cranks, directed by Joe Roth. Um, it's Christmas. I was like, okay, I'll do a Christmas movie, and I hate this movie. I despise this movie. I've seen it a couple of times, and every time I forget just how much I don't like this movie. uh, it's just the whole thing around the plot and just how crazy it is, and how crazy these people around Luther and Nora in this movie are. I hate almost every character in this, man. It really frustrates me watching this thing. In this, we have Luther Crank, played by Tim Allen, and Nora Crank, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. They usually do a lot for Christmas. They put on a party on Christmas Eve. They cook food. They invite people over, things like that. Not just them, but their neighborhood is, their neighbors, all about Christmas. They decorate everything. And so their daughter, Blair, joins the Peace Corps. And so she's actually not going to be there for this coming up Christmas. And so, because it's not going to feel the same without her, they're like, you know what? We're actually not going to celebrate Christmas this year. And Luther has the idea, hey, we spent a lot of money on Christmas anyway. We're actually going to save money if we just decide to, instead of celebrating Christmas, put on a party and all this other stuff, if we just go on a cruise. It's like a 10-day cruise. They go to different places. I think the Caribbean was one of the places that they stop in. And she's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so they end up, not decorating and doing these other things that they usually do on Christmas. And this really upsets their friends, Luther's coworkers, neighbors, pretty much everybody involved. And it is ridiculous. I think the performances are really good, right? We got Tim Allen, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dan Aykroyd's in this. We'll talk about his character. I think pretty much everybody's really good, especially Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, clearly, there's some issues with their marriage, and they don't like really get along all that well at times. And they only have sex once a week, I guess. Like, when he was coming in to tell her about the trip, she starts drinking wine and taking her clothes off and everything because she thinks it's about to go down. And she's like, "Oh, it's not even Saturday." And then later on, she gets on top of him. He's like, "Oh, it's not even Saturday." It's like, okay, you guys, you have the house to yourself, right? Your daughter's already been to college and graduated and everything like that. So you might have had the house to yourself even, while she was in college. And she's away now, the Peace Corps. And you guys don't seem to be all that busy work wise and things like that. It's like, why are you guys only having sex once a week? Like, what's going on there? And then also, they, at the beginning, uh he forgets his umbrella, and they go to the store, and she's like, "No, go ahead and go out there in the rain and go get what I need." Right? He needs to get something. I forgot what it was, chocolate something that she needed, and they didn't have it. And she makes him go back out in the rain, the pouring rain, to ask the butcher about it. He's like, "Why would I ask the butcher?" It's ridiculous. They definitely have issues with their relationship, and as things go on, she really starts to get on my nerves when it comes to what's going on with them. But their performances are so good that they do still have chemistry, right? Like, in the moments where they do embrace each other and things like that, you actually do feel it. Like, these two, even though they don't get along, their marriage isn't all that great. They clearly still love each other, and you get that from their performances. As far as this being a Christmas movie, it's almost like that anti-Christmas movie for about half of it. But when at the end, even though it's still frustrating, we'll get to all that. Uh, there is a little bit of holiday cheer involved, right? It is cheap in that way, where it's like, it's a Christmas movie. And I love Christmas. Most people love Christmas, so it's like, when all the people come together and things have died down, all the craziness, and you see them all just, enjoying Christmas with each other. It does I do feel something for that, right? I can't help it. It's cheap in that way, but, like, by the end of it, you still kinda get that Christmas feel that you want from a Christmas movie. So, I'll give it that too. This movie is badly written, and it's badly written in that way that if it made any sense, if logic is involved in the way people act and these interactions and things like that, there would be no movie, right? The response to, as much as I love Christmas, even if I don't go, anywhere, and, actually, like, even if I don't celebrate Christmas with my family, or anything like that, even if I'm just here by myself, right? I still enjoy Christmas. I still watch Christmas movies, eat some cookies, whatever, right? I love Christmas, right? But still, if somebody told me that they're not celebrating Christmas that year, I'd be like, "Oh, okay, why not?" Right? And then with the explanation in this movie, like, okay, well, they usually do a bunch for Christmas, and they don't want to do all that. Their daughter's not even going to be there, so they're going to spend time with each other. My reaction would be, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? Yeah, you guys have a nice trip, right? Like that's the normal reaction here. But no, these people are so invested. They're kind of leeches in how invested they are. So uh, starting off, Luther, right? He Luther, he decides when he makes the plans to go on the trip and all that. He decides to like type out a letter and give it to all the people he works with to be like, "Hey, I'm not going to the company Christmas party. I'm not throwing a Christmas party." All these things, and then so they start looking at him differently. They're kind of upset with him. One of the people he works with is like, "Santa isn't coming this year, huh?" Or something like that. I was like, "Come on, people, really? You all got families and friends and stuff like that, really?" That that was ridiculous. But Nora, right? She's walking down walking down the street, and somebody stops her, some guy that she knows, and he's like, "Oh, have you started picking out your Christmas cards? You always pick the best ones." And she's like, "Oh, we're not celebrating Christmas this year." This dude decides he wants to snitch on her to her friends when she's eating later on. It's like, 'cause it's that serious. There's a bunch of times where characters are just snitching on them, be like, "Hey, they're not celebrating Christmas." It gets around quick. But so he tells the friends, and that's when you really fully get like just how devoted these people are to having Christmas with the Cranks, and it is nonsense.
No Christmas Eve party?
No, no party this year.
She's not ordering Christmas cards either.
But then what do we do Christmas Eve?
You'll think of something. I mean, there are plenty of other parties.
But none like yours.
What are you guys supposed to do on Christmas Eve? Uh, Be with your family, other friends, whatever, make other plans. That's what you're supposed to do, right? It's just, it's why you so devoted to going over there to spend Christmas Eve with them. These Christmas Eve parties must be amazing, by the way. But how long you guys been going to the Christmas party? Whatever you were doing before that, do that. It's like, why are you guys so devoted? So we have that situation, and then we have the thing with the tree. So the guy's going around, he's selling the trees. I guess he sells trees every year. And I kind of understand why this guy would be invested because he has financial investment in selling all these trees. That's one less tree he can sell. They've already had to raise the price. So it's like, okay, they really need to sell these trees. Okay, so I kind of get that. Him and his kids are being shitty to Luther and all that. But then they go snitch. And they go snitch to Dan Aykroyd's character, Vic Frohmeyer. Frohmeyer is running things. I mean, this dude is the unofficial leader of this neighborhood. Not only this neighborhood, but at one point he threatens the two police officers in this. He's like, "Hey, I'll call the chief." I was like, "God damn!" He knows people everywhere. He can get things done. I was like, "God damn!" But he's really devoted to Christmas, and so he asked Luther about it and everything. And Luther's like, "Hey, get off my back." Right? And so he disappears like Batman after that. And then that's when things really start to ramp up, right? So they have these people, they have Luther and Nora. They are hiding in their homes away from these people. So not only do they in the neighborhood do they decorate and everything for Christmas and everything, they also have this thing where they put Frosty the Snowman up on the roof. So Luther and Nora, they're not doing that because they're not celebrating Christmas, they're not decorating, they're not doing anything, they're not putting up a tree. So they're also not putting up the snowman, Frosty. And so they pull up. I mean, it's people just outside. They got these people hiding inside their home. And they're like, free Frosty, free Frosty. And Frohmeyer's like, get that Frosty out here.
Laura Crank, we're here for Frosty. We're here for Frosty.
They want Frosty.
Well, they can't have him.
Nora, please give us Frosty.
They really pulled up on him. It's almost like they're gonna drag them outside and fucking gang beat them for not putting that snowman up. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. So, and then later on, the wife tries to leave. Nora tries to leave, and Frohmeyer is like at her car window, walking with her as she's trying to drive off. I mean, they got these people scared, hiding in their homes, everything. So it gets to a point where, the kids are outside, free Frosty, free Frosty. They're calling them on the phone, free Frosty, free Frosty. It's chaos. It gets to a point where there's some Christmas carolers, and they're going around singing. And so the shitty neighbor from across the street, we'll definitely get back to him. Uh, he sends those carolers over to them. So they start doing the carols, and so Nora and Luther, they're trying to ignore them. And the whole neighborhood joins in, and they're singing and singing and singing. They start to speed up and everything, and they seemingly won't leave. They try to ignore them, they won't leave. And so it gets to the point where it's like horror movie shit. Like there's like a jump scare. They go up to the window and start singing. It actually kind of scared me. And so they go down into, I believe, the basement. That's where Frosty's at. And they're hiding in the basement, and even Frosty's looking at him like, "Hey, you better put me up right now." It's crazy. It's chaos. It's chaos. They're getting ready for their trip and everything. Luther buys Nora a bikini and everything. They go tanning. I think it's like in a mall. And so they go tanning. Some dude just like stumbles into the room that Nora's tanning in. And he's like acting creepy and shit and all that. And so she ends up hitting her head and getting a cut on her head. So she comes out to ask for a band-aid. I guess there's no other staff. There's no other way for you to get in contact with anybody other than just going back to, the front of the store where you're visible to like the rest of that mall. And so she goes out there in her bikini to be like, "Hey, can I get a band-aid?" The lady out front seems like she didn't even know what the band-aids is. She seems like she doesn't know much about anything. And so it can't just be it can't just be a neighbor sees her and it's kind of embarrassing or whatever, or even a family member. No, it has to be a fucking priest. Their priest happens to see her in the bikini, come up and be like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And he looks like he's kind of checking her out too. It's like, wow, okay, that was a little off. Okay, all right, sinning. Oh, I see you, Father. But he he's taken aback, obviously, from seeing her in the bikini and everything. And he has to change the subject to be like, "I hear you guys aren't celebrating Christmas this year." Like, why is everybody so invested in this? And then it goes even further. They have to go the extra mile. It goes as far as to, be in the paper. Like they're in a they're in the newspaper, right? Somebody asked the asshole neighbor across the street that he doesn't get along with to go up on that guy's roof and take a picture of their house. They got details from the neighbors. They got the picture from where Nora's in the bikini and everything. They were tanning with the priest caught them and everything. Uh, and it's like, wow, they got all these. They're not putting up decorations. They're not celebrating Christmas, and they didn't put up Frosty on the roof. And it's like, okay, the newspaper, that's a neighborhood thing. That's within that neighborhood that they're not putting up Frosty. Nobody else cares about that. They're not putting up Frosty on the roof. It's like, God, come on. After all this, right? All this that I've just described, and then we also get a montage of them still the neighbors still harassing them and everything. It goes as far as Luther to spray water on their driveway. So now whenever carolers or anybody comes up to the door, they start slipping and sliding and everything. It's like, God damn, somebody's gonna get hurt. Like this is serious. This is real serious stuff that these two don't want to celebrate Christmas and they want to go on a goddamn trip. It's even to the point where Luther gets Botox. He gets Botox in his face. He walks up in his Miami Vice cosplay. I was like, what is going on? What is happening? But after all that, right? All that is only half of the movie. After all that, they get a phone call from their daughter, Blair. And Blair is not only coming home for Christmas, she's on her way there. She's on their way. I think that was on Christmas Eve. She's on her way there. She now has a fiance, some guy from Peru. I believe he was from Peru. And she's like, "Oh, he can't wait to see you guys. I've told him all about the Christmas party we have and everything." So now they're like, "Oh shit." And they've already bought the tickets and everything. And so obviously Luther's bummed out. He's like, "Man, she should have called earlier." And all these other things. The wife, Nora, she's she's telling her on the phone, like, "No, no, yeah, we're definitely gonna have a Christmas party." Basically, she wants to have the Christmas party and everything and act like none of this ever happened. And so now she's shaming him for ever wanting to go on the trip in the first place. It's like, yeah, you had certain, second thoughts or whatever whenever certain things were happening with the neighbors and stuff, but for the most part, you were all in with them, right? Other than you wanted him to still do his donations, to like the I think it was the children's hospital and the church and all that. She also wanted him to buy the police calendar. He didn't do that, so the police are giving him shit for the rest of the movie. Uh, Other than that, like you were down for it. Like before that call, they were dancing, everything. They're ready. Oh, we could pack, we could go and have a good time. She completely flips on him and acts like it was stupid that he ever decided to do that anyway. I was like, man, she was really getting on my fucking nerves. So now she has to go and get a ham because her daughter really likes the ham that they have for Christmas. And obviously, it's Christmas Eve. Like, there's no ham left. It's just so she's like, I'm gonna try. And so she has to write a check to somebody who's already buying the ham. She's like, "This is the last ham I needed." And then on her way out, oh, hijinks. She drops the ham because she bumps into somebody, I think, and then it rolls down into the street and gets run over. It's like this movie is so stupid. You know good and well you're not going to be able to put together a Christmas Eve party on this short notice, right? You know good and well you're not going to be able to do that, but you're just going to rush and do that for your daughter. It's like, okay, you don't want to go, right? You want to still see your daughter, and she's already on the way there, right? Okay, you wasted your money on the tickets or whatever, but you don't have to promise to put together a party, or you don't have to promise to, do the ham and all the stuff that you don't have prepared. You have to rush and put decorations around, rush to put the Frosty up on the roof now, and Frosty ends up falling off and breaking, and Luther ends up falling off the roof too, and you get terrible CGI. There's only a couple times there's CGI in this movie. It's terrible, especially in that moment when he falls off the roof. They have to scramble together and do all this other stuff last minute because of all this, and so that's pretty much the rest of the movie is them scrambling trying to put together a Christmas Eve party on Christmas Eve. I was like, oh my god, and she's not even coming that late. I think she's coming in, I think she said at 8 o'clock or something like that. I was like, "You're not gonna be able to pull this off, and you know this. Why not just tell her, 'Hey, you can come down, and we could just have, like, a small Christmas, just us,' right?" You know? "Oh, we did that because you weren't coming, we didn't decorate and all this other stuff, but, like, you can still come, and we'll throw together something, still have somewhat of a Christmas." No, we gotta scramble and do all this other stuff and deal with these shitty neighbors and stuff like that. The neighbors have to all come together and help them in the end. Even the police officers, they're gonna go pick her and her fiance up and everything, and they have to stall, you know, getting her there so that they can put together things last minute. They couldn't get a tree. The only tree that was left was this pathetic tree. So now he has to ask one of the neighbors who just happens to be going out of town, "Hey, can I use your tree?" He's like, "Oh, my wife's not gonna like this, but go ahead and use it. Here's my key. And just don't break any ornaments." They do, and there's no consequences for that in this movie. Nothing. But the police do arrest him because they think he's breaking in and stealing their tree. And he has a key, but the little kid from Malcolm in the Middle, he's in this, and he was helping him, and then he disappears, and then he comes back and gives the key, and he's like, "Actually, we weren't breaking in. We have a key." It's like, why did you run? And why did you give that kid the fucking key? Anyway, so they scramble together with the neighbors. Fro Myers really taking charge and being like, "Hey, do you have your turkey or whatever? Oh, we have two turkeys. Go ahead and bring them. We can put up the decorations. We can get Frosty from somebody else's house. We'll put it up. Right? We have to do this for Blair because they all really like Blair. So Luther's been an asshole. They like Blair, so they're still gonna help. So they put it all together and everything. Everything goes great. The daughter is there. On the way there, the police officers end up getting this guy that was breaking into some place, and instead of dropping Blair off and then taking that guy to the precinct, you know, they stay there and they're part of the party. They're just enjoying the party while the guy is in the police car the whole time. And so he tricks the little boy into letting him in so he can eat. He's like, "Oh, I'm so hungry." And of course, he just starts stealing from the Cranks. and and he gets knocked out by Santa. We'll get back to Santa with an umbrella. We'll get back to Santa. But first, let's talk about the neighbor. So the asshole neighbor across the street is Walt Sheen, played by M. Emmett Walsh. This guy's an asshole. His wife is really nice. His wife is sick and things like that. But she's nice. She's kind. But this guy is a complete asshole. Him and Luther do not get along. Like every time they see each other, it's problems, and they're talking shit to each other. This guy is constantly calling Luther old man, even though he's clearly older than him. And so, yeah, they're really talking shit to the point where it's like, you know what? It might be on site after a while with these two. Like they might actually come to blows. But His wife is actually dying. They find out this might be her last Christmas. So that's the way that they take care of the whole tickets thing because he didn't have Luther didn't have insurance for the tickets. So it's like, oh, he's going to give the tickets to them, and so that way they get to spend their last Christmas on a trip, on a cruise, on this nice cruise. And so, because he was lectured by Nora, Luther was lectured by his wife about being selfish, and because he's still bummed out about the trip, which anybody would be, even if he's happy to see his daughter. It's like, we did all this, we were getting ready for this, I was excited for this, and now we're not doing it. And at that point, it's like, well, I just wasted money too on the tickets. So, the movie's painting him to be the villain. It's like, bro, I completely understand where he's coming from. But he gives the tickets to the asshole neighbor across the street, so he can, spend potentially his last Christmas with his wife on this trip. And then I guess we can talk about the whole Santa thing here. So, as crazy as this movie been, it feels bizarre world and all this. You don't expect Santa to be real in this movie, right? I was like, you don't expect to see Santa in this movie, like the real Santa. So there's this in the beginning when he's getting rained on. There's this guy dressed up like Santa selling umbrellas, and he keeps telling him, "Hey, you should buy an umbrella." And he's like, "No, no, I don't need it." And he keeps getting rained on, and he gets soaked eventually. So later on, this guy's not dressed up like Santa. And he runs into Nora and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, Nora?" And she's like, "Oh," and she has no idea who he is, but he seems to know her. And so she's like, "Hey, you can come to the party." Because at this point, the party is just neighbors and whoever could come because the people they usually invite, or at least a good bit of them, they already had plans. It's like, okay, so you were able to make plans then. So, I don't see what the big deal was when she said they weren't doing the Christmas Eve party. But anyway, she ends up inviting him because it's like, hey, we got to have people here, right? So she ends up inviting that guy. He comes and he starts talking to the fiance of the daughter and all that, and they start to bond and they even sing a song. So when that robber or that burglar, uh, when he tries to leave after he stole from the Cranks and everything, because the kid let him out the police car, he gets knocked out by Santa with an umbrella. So it turns out that guy was Santa that was selling umbrellas in the beginning of the movie. So, I guess that's why he knows everybody, but they don't know him. It's because I guess he's just there and he sees them and things like that. But then he gets in his car and he drives off. And before he does that, he says something about, well, Santa always works on Christmas Eve, something like that. And it's like, okay, all right, he works as Santa. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. But no, when he gets in his car, when it gets to the very end of the movie, he's in his car, and his car is being led by the flying reindeer. So that's the actual real Santa. It's like, why is that in this movie? Why'd you force that in here? That did not need to be here at all. It feels completely out of place. It's so forced. Like I said, this movie is devoid of logic. It's a bizarre world. Characters aren't acting like people, right? Like the idea that it would be this big of a deal that these two don't want to celebrate Christmas. It's like, why are you guys so invested? It's weird. It's like it's blasphemy whenever somebody's like, like they're snitching to each other. Oh, well, they're not celebrating Christmas. And people are like, hey, Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Send carolers over there. 'Cause they don't know what the fuck they're. It's like blasphemy. It's like they're a Christmas cult. It's like their whole lives are wrapped around Christmas. It's like, there's the rest of the year, It's like, as much as I love Christmas, it's not this big a deal, right? You guys can still have a perfectly fine, great Christmas, not coming over for Christmas Eve party, not having, Frosty up on one of the roofs. You had to take Frosty from one of the other roofs to put up on his. So what's the difference? It's like, whatever. Really, Luther and Nora should have at least put up decorations and Frosty and put up a tree. Right. That way they wouldn't have had to scramble as much when they changed their plans anyway. And they could still say Merry Christmas back to people. They go out of their way not to do that in this, which is ridiculous. But whatever. You don't want to celebrate Christmas, you don't have to. It doesn't even matter what the reason is. I think the reason is justified in this, with everything with the daughter not coming home. But even if there was no reason at all, they just didn't want to celebrate Christmas. What's the problem? What does it matter? So it's like it feels like the movie's dead on arrival because you have to spend half the movie with them being harassed because they didn't want to celebrate Christmas, and anybody would be looking at that and being like, "This is nonsense." And then for the rest of the movie, it's like, "Oh, we got to scramble and all these hijinks. Oh, she dropped the ham and he got ran over," and it's just, yeah. This movie, I'm giving it trash. I'm giving it trash. It frustrates me every time. It's like, really, we're demonizing Luther because he did some crazy stuff, but we're really demonizing him because he wanted to go on a trip with his wife because his daughter's not coming home for Christmas. It's like, what? We're demonizing him. He's selfish. He needs a fucking lecture at the end. It's like, no, I understand it. I understand where he's coming from. Yeah. He's a bit of a tight ass when it comes to money, but because he didn't want to donate to the church or to the children's hospital, whatever. He didn't want to do that even. He's like, nah, that's $600, bro. It's like, okay, he's kind of a cheapskate a little bit, but yeah, I felt bad, man, because I was like, man, I see where Luther's coming from. Why y'all demonizing him like this? It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, like I said, trash. This movie frustrates me every time. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's Christmas with the Cranks. Subscribe. Merry Christmas. And we're done.